You tell me that it's too much work to have a healthy relationship with someone who's got an avoidant attachment style. Or you may be someone with an avoidant attachment style, and you're telling me it is too much work, too much effort to have a relationship with someone who's got an anxious attachment style. Of course it is, because you are connected to someone who is not like you. The core of who they are is very much like you, but the way they respond, the way they react is different than the way you would. You see, someone with an avoidant attachment style, they are independent. They've learned how to be independent because they've learned that they could not depend on someone else to take care of their emotional or even physical needs. Someone with an anxious attachment style, they need to be reassured that the person they choose to love or the person they're in love with will not leave them, because they have learned from their past that people will leave, and now they do believe that if you can promise them, you will keep your word, because they believe they keep their word, which is not the truth. You see, we are going to leave relationships when they get uncomfortable. Those with an avoidant attachment style knows that too well. An avoidant attached person can start to feel overwhelmed and they need space, which creates havoc in the emotions and the minds of a person who's got an anxious attachment style, because nothing is scarier for an anxious attached person when their partner starts to pull away. Now, I'm here with a number of other people on social media and off, trying to encourage us to build compassion so that we can have empathy, come to some sort of an awareness, an agreement, and respect for others so that our relationships can work. And you're trying to do that as well. But it is difficult, of course it is, because you don't respond and react the way the other person does. You may be the anxious who wants to sit and talk things through and work it out and come to some sort of a resolution and a solution so that should this issue happen again, you'll know how to deal with it. But for the avoidant attached person, they're hoping that the problem is going to disappear, that they could, everything could just go away, because to deal with it, that discomfort is a little too much. Now, we are all working on trying to understand the other person, but we also need to change who we are in that process. For someone who's got an anxious attachment style, you're going to have to get comfortable with the fact that your partner is going to need some space, some alone time, the respect to not share their thoughts and feelings, to accept that they don't have to, they're an individual. But you, in that space, you also get to take care of yourself. You can mirror their behavior. You could learn how to take space. You could learn how to take time to love yourself and put you first. I know we tend to say that the avoidant attached person is very selfish and self-centered. It's not so bad to be a little selfish. It's not so bad to take care of ourselves, to prioritize ourselves a little bit. For the avoidant attached, you want to be able to be a little vulnerable. You want to be open a little bit to the, an intimate relationship with your partner. You want to be able to push yourself to a place where you can communicate your feelings. Meet the other person halfway. I think it would be great if the avoidant attached and the anxious attached can start to mirror each other. You don't have to jump into the extreme of the other. You don't have to completely be vulnerable and open up yourself to someone else. Still, take your time in trusting someone, my avoidant attached friends. Take your time. But also, anxious attached, you're going to now learn that you don't have to say everything. You could keep a few things to yourself. You could process. So, the anxious attached can learn from this how to ground yourself, how to manage the way you respond to triggers, the way you react. And for the avoidant attached, you can start to mirror your anxious attached partner or your secure attached partner and open up just a little bit. But when it comes to building relationships, of course, it's not going to be a walk in the park. Relationships are difficult. But what we have to remember is that there are 3 units in a relationship. There's the person in that relationship with you, and you're in that relationship, so that's 2. That's I'm there, my partner's there, and then there's the relationship. It's kind of like a bank. You know, they have their account, how much are they going to put into it? I've got my account, how much am I going to put into the relationship account? And the relationship is the joint account. They're 2 individuals. We have to be able to meet the other individual. If that individual that I'm in a relationship with can only put $50 a month, I have to now decide, am I comfortable putting $50 or am I comfortable putting $75 into the relationship account? And we'll have to accept that as human beings, we're not going to be putting in the exact as the other person because we come from a different makeup. We have different experiences. We're on a different level of growth. They may be on a higher level, they could put more into the relationship, we may not be able to, or vice versa. But what I want us to keep in mind is that just a way that it's difficult for us to change who we are because we are healing. Healing means doing something differently than we've done before, which is never comfortable. They are also doing the same thing. And in knowing that, we can build some empathy. And from that empathy, we can have compassion. And with all that I say, every time I encourage us to have empathy for the people in our lives, I'm not saying that you can't have your boundaries. Your boundaries will depend on how much you love yourself, how much you respect yourself, how much you know that you are valuable and worthy, and make decisions for you. Not thinking about what would be best for them or the relationship. You have to think about yourself too. And that is your responsibility. Empathy is for them. Boundaries would be for you, which is something you control. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll do a video on it.